something on Sony PlayStation, although here in a few seconds, you'll probably question that, because what we are playing is, this is part of the Simple 1500 series, which were a series of games marketed in Japan, the Super Light 1500 series. These were imports only. Most of these were not made available in the US, or if they were heavily localized and altered from these versions. But this is Crazy Balloon 2000, and what this is it is a classic arcade game. Crazy Balloon hit the arcades in 1980. And this allows you to play either the original version or, of course, what the Japanese market refers to as an arrangement version. So just to acquaint you with the original arcade game, which this is very faithful to, this is Crazy Balloon, as you might remember seeing it in 1980. This was a game that did make it to the American market. And losing a balloon in this game is almost as upsetting as losing a balloon in real life if you're a little kid. You are trying to, of course, within the time limit, you see the countdown for the bonus up in the upper left-hand corner. That number is going to start shrinking. You are trying to guide the balloon home. Yeah, see, the number's going down. Trying to guide the balloon home before that number has gone to 0. Hey, I did it. Why, let's attack? How is this an attack? It's a balloon, man. Okay, so parts of the maze start moving to further stymie your attempts to guide the balloon safely home. Oh! It's a very challenging game. I mean, even for its age. And this has been... Yeah, I've covered variations and ports of this before. One of them being Looney Balloon on the Odyssey 2 video pack. And the game just resets itself from there. It literally goes back to the menu. Taito Classics, there was also a similar version of this called Kicks 2000. I mean, you're probably more familiar with Kicks than you are with Crazy Balloon. And there's at least one other game. Let's play the arrangement version. It's basically the same game, it's just dressed up more. It's like if the original 1980 graphics were... I mean, the maze is the same. Yeah, so if those 1980 graphics made with asterisks were too lame for your kids, but you still wanted to introduce them to the mystery and the majesty of Crazy Balloon, you needed to play better than that. But you play the arrangement version, and it looks more like a modern game. Even though it's functionally exactly the same game, you're just swapping out a graphics set. But other than that, the gameplay is exactly the same. Only somehow I'm managing to be worse at it this time around. If I remember correctly, the 1500, $1,500 in the game's title was a reference to the price point. Even in Japan, this was a budget release. Oh no! Yes, continue. Not like I really made any progress that is worth continuing. But let's keep trying. This 2000 was fairly late in the lifespan of the original PlayStation. So these games, I don't want to classify them as shovelware. This was of great interest to me because my main focus as a PlayStation collector, while I was a PlayStation collector, actually collecting the physical media, was trying to assemble a very healthy collection of classic arcade games that could be played on the PS1. By 2000, of course, you had the PS2 waiting for the release to happen. There you go. Eat my balloon-shaped dust. See, the moving parts of the rings are identical to the 1980 version. You just have a different graphic set. Really, I find this one a bit more distracting with the background patterns going on. I actually prefer the original formulation of the game. Probably says more about my much older eyes. Than it does anything to do with the game itself. Perhaps I shouldn't continue this time. So, there you have a pretty good overview. That's this whole game. Now, I remember getting a Super Light 1500 release that was 3 different games in both the original and arrangement versions. It was 3 Taito games. Crazy Balloon was one of them. Kicks was another. And I very much fear that I'm going to have to look up, since I turned down the volume here, I'm actually going to have to look up what the third game was, because I did do a review on the Phosphor Dot Fossils website, and it's simply a matter of trying to remember what that third game was. This is embarrassing. But I couldn't find the 3-game version of it. I couldn't find that ISO that I could play on my PlayStation 1 emulator here. I know I used to have the physical discs for these. Has happened in many cases. I, flipped them out of necessity. And so I now play this stuff in emulation. Can I even find... Okay, 3-in-1 arcade classics. Space Chaser. Okay, Space Chaser was the third game. And this was released in 2002, the 3-in-1 version. Yeah, I think the 3-in-1 version was even more of a budget release than these individually packaged versions were. So, that tells you a lot. We were kind of headed into the shovelware era, but I never regarded these as shovelware. I regard these as just delightful little surprises that we were getting in the twilight of the PlayStation as a platform. So, I will try to remember to circle back so we can explore some of the other Superlight 1500 releases that were also updates of classic arcade games. Thanks for watching.